afterwards, and then we'll get into some games. So, flying type, yes. Let's do this thing. Flying type is probably one of the best types in the game. No doubts about it. It has significant advantages. It has a lot of prevalence in OU. It is very, very strong. You wouldn't think so. As a child, as a 13-year-old, or not a 13-year-old, okay. See, when Pokemon Yellow and Blue, whatever the fuck comes out, or even Silver and Gold for some of you younger people, if you still remember those, you picked up a Pokemon, and you saw the first bird Pokemon you catch on the route, and it's this nice little pigeon Pokemon. It is a Pidgey. Wow, nice. It looks so cool. It has triple evolution. It is a very cool Pokemon. Like, I can see the growth in its eyes when it levels up. And then, you also potentially get like a Hoot Hoot in the new games. You're like, wow, this thing must be psychic, right? It's got a psychic type. It'll be a really cool Pokemon. And then, when you start leveling it up, you're like, wow, these Pokemon are absolute garbage. They don't know any moves at all. They're just bad. And for the most part, you're right. Flying types in early gens, not that good. They've been getting progressively better and better with each gen. I will say also that early game Pokemon, bird Pokemon, are pretty garbage. And it really does. Flying type is one of the few types in the game that I'd say gets made by its secondary type. So if its secondary type is garbage, you're not going anywhere, kid. So normal is not the strongest definition of a type that you want to be pairing with. So a lot of these flying normal types are not great. Dodrio, Fearow, Swellow, all these early game Pokemon, Noctowl, they're just not good. And there's a lot of flying Pokemon that have bad pairings. Any bug flying, generally speaking, is probably pretty bad. They just now there are a couple exceptions. Obviously, I will go over them, but you can get made or broken by your type. Flying fire, not a very strong combination. You don't see many Moltres or Articunos for flying ice. So it's just you can get decimated by your type combination. Now, with that being said, let's go over the merits of flying type besides picking out the Pokemon. Flying type is very good. It's very mediocre as a offensive type. There's not many good luckily there's strong moves in flying type nowadays. I think there's been more and more flying moves that have been getting introduced that have been stronger and stronger. Moves like Hurricane and Acrobatics have not been around very long. But they are very strong flying moves, very strong stab. If you can get those are probably your best stab moves on each thing. I'll go over those specific moves eventually, but other than that, not many other good flying moves. You're not looking very good in terms of what else you can attack with. You don't really attack with flying moves very often either, besides those two moves. They don't hit very many things very strong anyway. Fighting, it's okay. Bugs the same way, and so is Grass. Nothing too crazy here. Luckily, it doesn't get resisted by too much, so you're pretty much safe. Electric, who cares? If you get resisted by Electric, you're probably doing something wrong anyway. Electric's not a defensive type. Rock and Steel, you'll see occasionally. I'm surprised Rock actually blocks something, considering it's infamous in being pretty bad at blocking just about anything for how sturdy it is. This is about flying, not Rock. I'll keep my comments hopefully to a minimum about Rock. And Steel, of course, that blocks everything. And Steel is probably the best defensive type in the game, besides probably Poison. So let's go over. So offensively, mediocre. Nothing to write home about. Nothing crazy. Nothing too bad. Hits, good types. Grass, a defensive type that you can break with it. That's not bad. And if you run into the Parasect and you hit Bug Grass, well, he just fucked up. He just fucked up. And then fighting is, you'll run into occasional fighting types, but generally speaking, you're not picking up flying type as you're like, oh my god, I need this. Most of the time, if you have a flying type move, it's probably just, it's kind of similar to Psychic and Ghost and Dark, where you're just like, well, I need something to fill out my list of moves. I'm just going to tack this on. If you're not a flying Pokemon, you're probably not going to get it anyway. So, like, Pelipper's and stuff, they'll get, like, Hurricane, obviously, because of, stab. They need it. But if you're, say, oh, God, I'm trying to think of the Fire Moth thing's name. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That thing's not going to get a flying move even if it could. It's going to get Quiver, it's going to get Bug Buzz, it's going to get Fiery Dance, and then something else. It's not going to pick up a flying move even if it could. Same with Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's a perfect example. Is Aerodactyl really going to get a flying move? Fuck no. He's going to get Earthquake, he's going to get a rock move, he's going to get U-turn, he's going to get all kinds of stuff over a flying move, even though he's flying type. So, like, I'm just saying, if you don't have access to Hurricane or, God, I always forget the other name, Acrobatics, you're probably not going to get a flying move. Let's just start with that. And don't even get me started on Hidden Power Flying. If you're doing that, then something went wrong when you're making your team. But offensively, we're done with it. We'll talk about the specific moves when I get down later. Defensively, flying, you'd think that being weak to rock, ice, and electric is going to butcher you. And it does. It does. This is one of the few. This is a very interesting type where on paper it should be really bad, but in practice for OU it gets really good. Again, I'll go over it more when I get to more Pokemon. This is horrific. These moves are very common. Physically, Rock is on like every. You can get Stone Edge on like any Pokemon, Rock Slide on any fucking Pokemon, and Stealth Rock. Then you got Ice, which is Ice Beam or Ice Punch, and you can get that Hidden Power Ice. And then Electric, Thunderbolt is one of the most common moves as well. It's probably another top 5 move, top 10 move right there. Like, what the hell are you thinking with a flying type defensively? But I will say it does resist. This is one of the few types I think that resist what it is offensive against too. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm not. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Resist fighting. That's really good. That'll come in handy. That's probably one of its best defensive assets besides this key one. Resist is immune to ground. Earthquake being the best move, being immune to it is god tier. You can get a free switch in with a flying Pokemon. That is amazing. You're also immune to spikes. It doesn't say that. So other entry hazards that are not Stealth Rock, so poison spikes as well. So being immune to the best move in the game, Earthquake, is a godsend. Especially when you can predict it. If you're able to get a free switch with a flying Pokemon. They have a lot of... Flying Pokemon offer a lot for your team once they're in. Many of them that are in OU do a lot of things for you. We'll go over it. But defensively, should be shit. By itself, if you're just a pure flying type, you're garbage. We'll start off with that. I don't think there's ever going to be a flying type. I don't even think there is a pure flying type. Garbage. Absolutely garbage. And if you have the wrong type paired with you, double garbage. Fire, garbage. Ice, get the hell out of here. I don't even want to see you. Rock? What are you thinking, man? Rock? Come on, man. So, you get what I'm saying. Bug, holy cow, man. Holy cow. I'm going to die to Stealth Rock. But, I digress. Type-wise, this thing on paper looks to be the worst type on paper. Honestly. Offensively, meh. Defensively, holy fuck. What are you going to do? Now, resist fighting, like I said, probably one of the best things. This is amazing. So probably rounds down to average after that. But these three are so common. So common. And these two are not that common to resist. This saves its bacon, and this saves its bacon. So, type-wise, on paper, looks a little sketch. We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. All right. We've made it past the on-paper scary moment for flying. We're here. Oh, here's the pure flying. Fuck that thing. We'll just start off with that. Fuck that thing. Okay. Okay. This is kind of weird how this is primary flying, and then everything else... There's only one... Everything else is secondary flying, which is kind of weird. That means it's not like it's normal element. I would argue that birds should be primary flying, but okay. Cool. I guess Pidgeot is not primarily flying over normal. I guess its normal nature takes over its flying. That's just in whatever. I don't get why this thing is okay. I'm being really picky here. Okay. Flying types. Let's go over the moves first, and then we'll go over the Pokemon in flying. Flying has a really good move pool. It saves its bacon. It has. Oh, I forgot Brave Bird is a very good offensive move. We'll talk about that. It has Acrobatics, a very newer move, Gen 5. That's new to me still. Where it doubles your damage if you do not have an item. Very useful in sets. Getting 110, 100% accuracy with no drawbacks besides not having an item. Amazing. This move is god tier. It's really good. Aerial Ace, okay, like I think I see that like when you're just finishing off a move, or technicians I see sometimes have it. This is a legendary move. Air Slash is 95% accuracy, going to fuck you over eventually, but not many people get this move. I see it occasionally, but this is your special move if you can't get Hurricane, or you don't want to risk it, or don't have Rain Dance. This is what you get. Bounce, I don't see. Brave Bird is if you're running like a choice set or something like that, or just want to do fuckloads of damage at the cost of your own HP. It's about 50-50. I don't think many birds actually can learn it. I think Acrobatics is more common. But Brave Bird, if you can get it, it's like 50-50. It depends on the set. It's a good move. Defog. Okay, here's where we're starting to see why Flying Pool's moveset is amazing. Defog got changed after Gen 4. I think I don't remember what gen. It might have been Gen 5, 6, something like that. It was pretty recent. It can now clear entry hazards and get rid of Reflect. I don't even think it says on Gen 4's thing what it does. So maybe it's Gen 7. It could be Gen 7 when you can clear entry hazards with, which is amazing. It's amazing. You want a Defogger on your team, you want a Rapid Spinner. So now Rapid Spin's not the only way. It sucks because a lot of Rapid Spin Pokemon lose their niche, but more options for getting rid of entry hazards is a welcome. I wish it wasn't on flying types, but I get why they did it, because this move is also worthless too. It makes it so flying types have to take damage to get it out of here too. But this is really good. This move has a lot of utility to it. Getting rid of Reflect and Light Screen is just a bonus. So, Drill Peck. I think only like Fearow can really learn this. Maybe like I think it can be bred onto like Skarmory too. But yeah, Fly. Okay, everybody's favorite move back in like Gen 1. Hurricane. Here we go. Here we go. Hurricane does 110 damage, the same as Acrobatics. It's special, and it hits 100% when it's in the rain, which is really good. Really good. Especially since rain's really accessible nowadays. It's not hard to get weather. So that'll come in play once I show you more OU stuff. Pack. Okay, cool. I remember how cool Pluck was when it first came out, but like whatever. And then I think that's mostly it. Tailwind you'll see occasionally, but it boosts your speed on all of your Pokemon. It's basically like a Trick Room set, but without the other. You don't have to set it up with like everything. Every Pokemon doesn't have to have it. Yada yada yada. Okay. So flying type, we kind of talked about it. We'll go over to more Pokemon that are in the flying type eventually. It's going to be a fun one for me because OU has some unique Pokemon in it. And I can also talk about why some Pokemon are atrocious that are flying. So it's like either 50-50. It's usually you're really bad or you're really good. My team's pretty bad. We'll get to them eventually. So let's go to Team Builder and look at some of the Pokemon in OU. I want to go back and do new team real quick. Add Pokemon. Okay. OU flying types. Okay, you'll start to notice a theme. This is probably one of the few Pokemon that break the theme right here. Charizard, Megas are very strong. They have really high base stats. They have Drought on Charizard, Mega Y. Again, hits hard, very fast. It's weak to Stealth Rock, significantly. Both of these guys are, because they're fire. We're going to nix this guy because he's Dragon, so he eliminates the flying. And I'm going to go back and talk about him, obviously. So this is why he has Drought. He's got high stats, high damage. Special attacks 159. That's disgusting. Honestly disgusting. If you get hit by a hurricane or a heat flamethrower or something like that, you're just probably going to die. And fire's a really good type to attack with. So Charizard has the stats to back it up. And if you can get rid of Stealth Rock, which is much easier to do for flying, that's why it's a little better than I think it used to be. I think flying is getting better and better with each gen. You'll see, I think OU, this is one of the most prevalent flying types I've ever seen. We have Celesteela. We'll start to pick up reasons why the type makes the difference in your Pokemon. So, Steel Flying. Probably one of the best type combinations in the entire game. For a wall specifically. You cannot break this thing. Fighting can't break it. Ground can't even hit it. Rock can't hit it. That's 3 physical moves that are neutral or can't hit it. Perfect. Those 3 are the most common normal or physical moves in the game. You can't get hit by poison. That's another plus. So what does that leave you? That leaves you electric. Ice gets neutralized by steel as well. So you only have electric moves to hit this thing now. Only have electric. That's so tough. And fire. But like I said, fire is a little less common than electric. But you just neutralize the entire physical move pool. Celesteela did. Very frustrating. For a defensive wall, not special defense, Celesteela and one other Pokemon we'll get to eventually, the king of flying Pokemon, or the king of like the average, the simpletons, I guess I'll say. Which I can't believe this Pokemon has remained this strong for so long. But Celesteela with Beast Boost, it's got the stats, 570, very bulky all around, and this thing hurts. You use Gyro Ball on this thing, or it has Leech Seed too. It's got the move pool to just be a bitch. It really does. So Celesteela with the Steel Flying type, it's got Blessed with the Steel type. That thing is amazing. Flying Steel is devastating. So we'll start that off right there. That type combination is busted as shit. Next flying type combination. Dragon. Dragon neutralizes a lot of moves. Electric, notably. Grass, fire, all that jazz. It's only hit by Fairy, Dragon, and Ice. Now, Ice devastates you. I'm not going to lie. Rock still hits you hard, too. But Dragons usually have really high base stats, so it doesn't really matter too much. Like, the lowest stat you have is 91 in HP, or, sorry, 80 in speed. It's not too devastating. Yeah, you can get one shot by the occasional ice move, which happens a lot. But they have multi-scale, which makes it damage taken from attacks is halved. Now, that can be worked around with, like, usually Pokemon can, like, one-shot you, but you probably will live, like, a hidden power ice move. But it just gives you more bulk, and it's better than Inner Focus, so I know a lot of them run weakness policy too, so they're even harder to kill. But yeah, and if you don't have the type combination right away to deal with Dragonite, they'll dance on you. I mean, I know they look fine when they're dancing on the dance floor, but they'll just dance on you. So if you don't have the right Pokemon as soon as they come out, again, pretty devastating. So that's why dragons will always be a threat, because they always have Dragon Dance. Always have a way of still doing damage with Outrage or whatever they want to do. They are always a threat. You always have to prep them. That's why ice moves are very popular. So that's why that thing's there. Let's keep going. Hawlucha. Ooh, Hawlucha. One of my favorite Pokemon designs ever. It is a basic Pokemon. It doesn't have any evolutions. It's got really good base stats for a basic Pokemon. Good speed. The speed becomes even more busted when you have Unburden. And Acrobatics Unburden, because you'll use like a Flying Gem or a Citrus Berry or something like that. Once you Unburden, you're uncatchable. You cannot be outsped, even unless you have like somebody has a Scarf or something like that. You're not going to catch them. And then Acrobatics with a 92 base power, 110 stab. That hurts. That shit hurts. And usually they carry like Swords Dance or something like that. Hawlucha definitely has the gusto to back things up. It's really strong. And guess what? Fighting is also one of the better types to be paired with. you neutralize Stealth Rocks. Again, very handy. Now, if this thing gets hit by a special move, it's probably dead. You probably messed up. You have to set up Hawlucha. I will say that. It's more. You need more setup than like Dragonite. You can't just throw it in there willy-nilly. So, but when you do get the setup, it can pretty much sweep any team. It's very strong. It's got Flying Press to Acrobatics, like I already mentioned, and everything else. So, again, Stealth Rock's fighting type is a good type to be paired with. Offensively, this thing's devastating. It can cover a lot of types with this. Let's keep going. Oh, one of my favorite Pokemon. Okay, so let's talk about Landorus. You block the electric. Ground is also one of the best types defensively as well, to be paired with flying at least, because you block electric and you block ground as well. So that's 2 immunities already in one Pokemon. That's really strong. You negate the grass for the ground. You help each other out. What else? Ground also blocks fire. Now, I will say you get hit by ice. Everybody carries ice. You need it. But Landorus is just a bitch because it has so many good stats. 145 attack on something that usually is it's usually the lead on anything, and it has Stealth Rock. It's got a really good move pool. It's got U-turn. It's got Earthquake, because everything has Earthquake nowadays, even though it's not touching the ground. But its stats, and it's Intimidate. So defensively, it comes in and then just ruins your day and makes your attack go down. A very good lead. Intimidate's probably one of the best abilities in the game, lowering somebody's attack just by switching in. Very, very good. But ground flying, there's another close to being OU Pokemon that has this as well. Landorus edges them out because he can actually hold an item that is not one of the other items. We'll get there eventually. But Landorus is really strong. You block out electric, you block out grass, you block out ground moves. Very common moves right there, and you stop fighting. So that's like 4. I think you stop a lot of physical. And ground also blocks rock. So Stealth Rock is not hitting him. Fighting is not hitting him, and ground's not hitting him. 3 of the most physical moves in the game are not hitting this guy strong. Again, it's the same as Celesteela, just a little bit different. Very good type to be paired with. Ground is a very good type to be paired with for flying, specifically. Again, flying gets made by the types it's paired with, not the type itself. I will reiterate that as many times as I can. You'll see that over and over again, because I'll go over some bad examples at the end, which is going to be odd for me. Usually I just do OU. I'll show you why the type makes you bad or good. Let's keep going. Pelipper. Oh boy. Okay. Pelipper doesn't have any stats. You can tell 440 is not great, but it's really bulky defensively. And it's got pretty respectable special attack. That's about it. Everything else is trash. You would think Pelipper would have really good HP because it's like fat and holds a lot of water. I don't really know. It's got stockpile too, I think. But the big thing about Pelipper is it's got Drizzle. And anytime you have a weather effect, instantly makes your Pokemon much better and more useful in different team comps. Especially Rain Dance team comps. This thing is always seen with like Mega Swampert or a Kingdra or something like that. I pretty much, anytime I ever see this thing, it's with those guys, and this thing will switch in and then switch right out, and then just, oh god. But water is not a bad type to be paired with. You're like, well, electric will hit them, but you block ice. You still get hit by rock, but this thing's not used for like general Pokemon usages. It's used to set up Drizzle and Rain Dance. And another big note about Pelipper is its 95 special attack becomes more scary when it has 100% accuracy Hurricane, like blowing all of your, blowing Dorothy's house around. Dorothy Gale's everywhere. It's not a hurricane, it was a tornado, but you get my reference. It was a bad reference. Sorry about that. I tried to be like pop culture, and I didn't want to do a real life one, so that would have been in poor taste. But you get my drift. Hurricane from a 95 accuracy, or 100% accuracy with 95 base power is not bad. Especially on a bulky Pokemon. It'll still hurt regardless. So, and other Hurricanes will certainly be following with Pelipper, because you're in the rain. So it's not going to just be Pelipper throwing Hurricanes out at you. It's going to be apparently everything. So, alright, Pinsir. Pinsir. Probably one of the better Megas in the game. Holy god. This thing has really devastating attack. It is the weird bug flying, which can get annihilated by stealth rocks. Remember, I said the fog stops that a little bit, but what makes Pinsir really good is its normal moves become flying type. That's not the only reason it's good. It's got really insane attack power too. But a lot of normal moves you can get and get like flying on them. And flying again is a hard type to get physically, and you don't want to have Brave Bird. I don't think many things can have it, but like this you can get normal. It's got Earthquake. It's got Close Combat. It's got a lot of good moves in its physical pool, and the stats to back it up. So that's essentially why. Quick Attack Stab is also really good too. So this thing, 155 or whatever, how much base power it has, really strong. Stab, Quick Attack's always very nifty, even if you're already pretty fast anyway. But it's got a really good physical move pool with the stats to back it up. That's essentially it. Nothing too crazy about that. I know it's a bug flying, but I think that might be the only one bug flying in there. I'll go over another bug flying that doesn't have the luxury of Pinsir, so I can't argue the stats or the typing on that one. Okay, we'll get there. Pinsir. Aha! Skarmory, the king of, like, if there was ever a poll for like the best non-legendary Pokemon ever in competitive history for like Pokemon, I'd put Skarmory in there. I would fathom that since Skarmory has come out, it's been one of the best Pokemon in the entire game. Steel Flying, 140 defense, 140. Its other stats are not that bad. Like, oh, I need 40 special attack. Thank fucking God. Base stats are not impressive. What is impressive about Skarmory? Its abilities are not even impressive either. Oh wait, Steel Flying. Oh baby, yeah. This type is these types together are that good. That good. 140 base defense. Skarmory has been a staple of competitive scene ever since its inception in Silver and Gold. This thing is amazing. It is amazing. It's a solo it's one evolution Pokemon. God forbid if they ever introduce a Mega or evolution for Skarmory, like save the world, because you'll see this on every team. This thing is this thing only gets outclassed by Celesteela because of stats. I think it's slightly fallen in grace from Celesteela because of move pool and stats, but Celesteela offers different things, like more damage than Skarmory does, and a different move pool, a unique move pool, more of a bitch move pool. Like I said, Leech Seed is like on every Celesteela, so not great. Not great at all. But we'll go over another reason why Skarmory, besides its typing, which I already kind of went over in Celesteela. Anything I said in Celesteela, anything I ever said about Celesteela applies to Skarmory too. So just know that, and kind of vice versa. A little bit different, but not. I know it's crazy, but so Defog, great. Stealth Rock, Spikes, Whirlwind, 3 amazing moves for a defensive wall. Very good. It can set up a lot of things, and it's got Roost. I forgot to talk about Roost. I'll do it on Skarmory's page. It's a flying move that is probably one of the best healing moves in the game, besides like Soft Boiled or Recover, but those are very limited access. Any flying Pokemon can learn Roost. It does take away your flying type, but oh man, I lose my flying type and still have Steel. Yeah, and you're already moving last anyway, so most people can't even like do anything with your flying type being removed. So it's like, oh, I can hit him with a ground move now. Nah, you can't really, because Skarmory's going to move slower than you anyway. But Skarmory's move pool is outstanding. Outstanding for what it needs to do. This Pokemon is like made for competitive battling. I don't get it. I don't know what Game Freak was thinking. They just wanted a metal bird. I guess they just wanted it. And it's really good. So I like Skarmory. I've had one. I bred one in my actual game, and it took me forever. I think it was in Diamond and Pearl. I spent fucking hours getting the right EVs and IVs on that thing. And that thing still serves me to this day. I'll play that game, and I'll be like, damn, I got my defensive wall, and that's all I need right here. You can put basically any move on this thing, as long as you got some entry hazards and stuff, as long as you got some stalling, and this thing will treat you right. This baby will treat you right. Let me keep going. Da, da, da. Where we were at Skarmory. Okay. Oh, last but not least, Zapdos. The only bird, legendary bird, that's useful for anything in its entire history. Zapdos is very bulky. I know 85 defense does not seem like it's very bulky, but it's got pretty high HP. It's flying type, so you already help out electric type by getting rid of that ground weakness, that pesky ground weakness. Now electric has no weaknesses. Congrats, you just did it. Again, static or Stealth Rock will still hit you, but Zapdos has very good offensive stats. Heat Wave, Thunderbolt. I think it has Hurricane too. But I don't think it's as strong as other defensive walls like Celesteela and Skarmory, but it offers more special power to your punch if you need one. Generally speaking, Zapdos is not that intimidating. This is one of the few Pokemon I don't understand completely why it's an OU, but I get some of its merits. I wouldn't personally push for it. I think there are other things that scare me more than Zapdos. But hey, 125 base power Thunderbolt is pretty scary for everybody. So that's OU. That's flying. As you can see, most of the flying types did not have the weaker types besides Pinsir, Charizard, and you can argue Zapdos. Everything else had very good typing combination. Now we'll go over some bad typing combination with flying, and why some Pokemon are not or held back by their type. Let me look here. Staraptor's pretty funny. This is probably the only normal flying that could ever make it anywhere. Its stats are really good. It's got Reckless and Intimidate. Very good abilities. Dun dun dun. Dragon Flying. Gyarados, I think, is held back by its flying type, oddly enough. It doesn't get anything out of it besides a weakness to ground or immunity to ground. But I think Gyarados actually gets held back by it. Its Mega doesn't do it in any favors either because it's dark. Like, okay, woohoo. But I think Gyarados without the flying type would actually be better. Like, yeah, you get hit by ground, but I think you eliminate the electric, like, devastation. I guess fighting gets helped by it, but I think Gyarados gets hurt by its flying type more than it gets helped, interestingly enough. So I would argue Gyarados. But let's go down further and look at some, like, bad Pokemon or bad typing with flying. I mean, any normal flying type gets worse. They're just bad. You'd probably rather just be normal. You get hit by... you just add like electric weakness and ice weakness, and there's Pokemon already frail as it is, so probably not the best. A lot of normal flying type Pokemon are not that good. And then I was gonna go over. I guess I could go in more Bulbapedia. So I could go over some of the legendary stuff actually. So you see Zapdos. We'll talk about that. That's perfect. So this will be the last thing I talk about flying type, and then I'll actually go to my team. You see the legendary Pokemon Zapdos, and you're like, okay, where is Articuno and Moltres? Well, I kind of alluded to it already. They get 4 times Stealth Rock damage already. I keep saying already. It's like I'm all ready to go. They get 4 times Stealth Rock damage, which is brutal. There's very little that can save you from having that happen. Like, I keep pushing that there's a bunch of defog now and all that jazz and gets rid of entry hazards, but they don't have any merits to back it up. Their stats, like, okay, like, what does flying do for Moltres? Or what does flying do for Articuno? The types by themselves, fire and ice, probably are just better anyway. They just get hurt. Oh, okay, we're not going to say ice is better. Moltres has, like, probably or Articuno has probably one of the worst typings in the game. Ice flying. Oh God. Oh, look, Delibird's the same thing. No. Ice flying is pretty bad. Their combination just destroys them. And bug flying are similar in a way too, where you just get hurt by like. That's another thing I have to worry about with Yanmega or Mothim or something like that, or Vivillon. Like, yeah, you can do like some gimmicky stuff with them, but that's another thing I have to worry about. And they already have weaknesses as it is. They're generally terrible in stats. They have to use gimmicks. These bug flying Pokemon. Bug Pokemon don't usually have very high base stat totals. So adding flying just makes things a little more complicated and trying to get all your damage out and such. So I remember one of the big best flying types in the game was Talonflame. I think like last gen. Gliscor should be definitely noted. I think he's one of the few Pokemon that's not an OU that I will bring up specifically. Gliscor is an amazing Pokemon. It's essentially the same as Landorus, but a little weaker because it doesn't have as much offensive power. It also uses Toxic Orb and can stall out with that. But similar case to Landorus. I don't have to repeat myself over again. It just has Toxic Orb and weaker stats. That's why it's not as good. And it doesn't have Intimidate either. So that's the key thing. But I kind of already talked about it, but Bug Flying is just, it just makes your Pokemon a little too weak. So you gotta watch out for that. So, alright. So Flying type is made, basically what you need to know. Flying type is made or broken by the type that's paired with it. That's essentially it. Like, there's no other way to put it. If you don't have a good type or you don't have the stats paired with Flying, move pool generally doesn't hold you back. Like, Flying types usually have a pretty diverse move pool too, and they have really good moves in their own move pool. So it's just, I think the typing actually is one of the strongest things with Flying, more so than like any other type. I think so. There might be one more I talk about later that might get more made or broken, or I might have already talked about it. I'll have to think about it more, but I'll make that bold statement right now at least. Let's go to my team. So that's it